4-day India Energy Week 2025 or IEW began on 11th February in New Delhi. Already established as one of the most important energy summits globally, this third edition saw more than 120 countries participate and attracted over 70,000 energy professionals from all over the world. There were over 95 sessions and 700 exhibiting companies. Congregation deals were signed, future synergies explored while talking about global energy security with a focus on climate and technology. The event began with Prime Minister Narendra Modi's virtual address that reiterated India's role as an emerging global superpower and its energy needs. His speech underscored India's commitment to sustainability.
साथियों, दुनिया का हर एक्सपर्ट आज कह रहा है कि 21st सेंचुरी भारत की सेंचुरी है। भारत अपनी ही नहीं, दुनिया की ग्रोथ को भी ड्राइव कर रहा है और इसमें हमारे एनर्जी सेक्टर की बहुत बड़ी भूमिका है। साल 2030 तक हम 500 गीगावाट रिन्यूएबल एनर्जी कैपेसिटी ऐड करना चाहते हैं। साल 2030 तक भारतीय रेलवे ने नेट जीरो कार्बन एमिशन का टारगेट रखा है। साल 2030 तक हम हर साल 5 मिलियन मैट्रिक टन ग्रीन हाइड्रोजन कर सके, ये हमारा लक्ष्य है। हमारे ये टारगेट्स काफी एम्बिशियस लग सकते हैं, लेकिन बीते 10 साल में जो भारत ने हासिल किया है, उससे ये विश्वास पैदा हुआ है कि ये टारगेट भी हम जरूर हासिल कर लेंगे। फ्रेंड्स, बीते 10 साल में भारत 10th लार्जेस्ट से 5th लार्जेस्ट इकोनॉमी बना है। बीते 10 वर्षों में हमने अपनी सोलर एनर्जी जनरेशन कैपेसिटी को 32 टाइम्स बढ़ाया है। आज भारत दुनिया का तीसरा सबसे बड़ा सोलर पावर जनरेटिंग नेशन है। हमारी नॉन फोसिल फ्यूल एनर्जी कैपेसिटी 3 गुना बढ़ी है। भारत G20 देशों में पेरिस समझौते के लक्ष्यों को पूरा करने वाला पहला देश है। भारत कैसे अपने लक्ष्य समय से पहले प्राप्त कर रहा है, इसका एक और उदाहरण है इथेनॉल ब्लेंडिंग। आज भारत 19% इथेनॉल ब्लेंडिंग कर रहा है। इससे फॉरेन एक्सचेंज की सेविंग हुई है और सब्सटेंशियल फार्मर रेवेन्यू जनरेट हुआ है। साथ ही CO2 एमिशंस में सिग्निफिकेंट कट भी आया है। हम अक्टूबर 2025 से पहले ही 20% इथेनॉल मैंडेट अचीव करने की राह पर है। आज भारत की बायोफ्यूल्स इंडस्ट्री तेजी से ग्रो करने के लिए तैयार है। हमारे पास 500 मिलियन मैट्रिक टन्स का सस्टेनेबल फीडस्टॉक है। इंडिया की G20 प्रेसिडेंसी के दौरान ग्लोबल बायोफ्यूल्स अलायंस बना और लगातार एक्सपांड हो रहा है। इससे 28 नेशंस और 12 इंटरनेशनल ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस जुड़ चुके हैं। ये वेस्ट को वेल्थ में ट्रांसफॉर्म कर रहा है और सेंटर्स ऑफ एक्सेलेंस सेट कर रहा है। साथियों, भारत अपने हाइड्रोकार्बन रिसोर्सेज के पोटेंशियल को पूरी तरह से एक्सप्लोर करने के लिए निरंतर रिफॉर्म्स कर रहा है। साथियों, भारत ऐसे एनर्जी सॉल्यूशंस देने के लिए कमिटेड है जो हमारी ग्रोथ को एनर्जाइज करें और हमारे नेचर को भी एनरिच करें।
Apart from the conference and networking sessions, it also rained deals at the IEW, and here are some of the notable ones for India. BPCL deals with Petrobras for import up to 6 million barrels of Brazilian crude. IOCL deal with ADNOC UAE for importing up to 1.2 MMTPA LNG for 14 years. ONGC deal with BP for technical support for Bombay High. YIL deal with BP Business Solutions for tech collaboration. ONGC Videsh deal with Petrobras for oil and gas projects. OIL deal with Petrobras for cooperation in offshore hydrocarbon exploration in India. BPCL deal with EcoWave Power of Israel to develop first Indian wave energy project. BPCL deal with Equinor for purchase of propane and butane for 1 year. With India's energy demands set to double in the next few years, making it one of the largest energy consumers, themes of energy security and the emergence of a new energy world order dominated conversations on day one of the conference. As ministers and sectoral leaders discussed pragmatic, sustainable and profitable new global energy systems, it was clear that India is leading from several fronts, from cleaning the country's kitchens with sustainable fuel to igniting a biofuel revolution.
A reasonably priced cooking medium is not a challenge in the West, it's not a challenge in the US and Europe. But for countries in Africa, for countries of the global south, it is a challenge. And I think the Indian model, where the developmental challenges are more akin to what the countries of the global south have, I think that is a model that can be replicated, and we've decided to intensify our negotiation. But now the governments will also focus on clean cooking gas, and I think by the time we have the next ministerial meeting in Goa for the IEW, we will be able to give concrete shape to it.
This is an area where we can build global partnerships. There are people who are coming from different companies. It's not only the energy players, there are technology players, there are other stakeholders who are well represented over here, and definitely when you work along with them, you can achieve much more than what you intend to.
When India turns 100, Indian oil will be net zero by 2046. So it is one. And to achieve that 2046, the milestones that we have set for ourselves are, first I will say by 2030, I will be at least 30 gigawatt of power, renewable power will be there with us. Then ethanol 20% we are achieving, then sustainable aviation fuel, and there are certain number of compressed biogas plants that we are putting up, which we want to showcase for the entrepreneurs and encourage them to put several of those plants, because we will need thousands of these plants, and the potential for this compressed biogas is 15 million tons. Plus, I'll say that the fifth one would be the battery manufacturing. Then we are going into the battery manufacturing with international JV partners, so back on the value chain. So that gives me the benefit of the value addition.
Artificial intelligence took center stage at the India Energy Week 2025. In the 4 days, all conversations that were focused on the future really of the energy sector, technology emerged as the soul, while of course different sources of energy emerged as the mind and the body. But all conversations and all issues really converged on the idea of global cooperation for energy security, and with platforms such as the India Energy Week, amid remember geopolitical uncertainties and volatilities, platforms like the India Energy Week will then go a long way in forging global cooperation for India's energy security.
The renewables are picking up. We crossed 100 gigawatts of solar just few days back. You must have seen in the news. And wind, in any case, India was doing well even earlier. Slowed down a bit though. And hydro also we started much earlier, but then hydro takes more time. So So we've looked at our available resources, we've looked at clean fuel to come into our systems more and more, and that's where we've been moving. And as we move along, we are diversifying and we are trying to tap as many sources as are available.
Day 1 saw discussions around energy transition, meeting global energy demand and ensuring energy security in the multifaceted global supply chains of the future, followed by discourses on resetting global energy policies and getting the transition back on track.
Certain kinds of traditional biomass, particularly animal dung, we have been investing a great deal of attention into making this a source of biogas. A separate but very important initiative has been to remove, if you like, traditional fuels from the kitchen and replace them with LPG, and that has been done successfully, 100 million households, I believe, largely so as to deal with the issue of indoor air pollution, which is associated with the burning of wood in kitchens and indoors. We have a large program which is on rooftop solar with the incentive that households would get a subsidy or would be able to get power for free. You know, what has happened with solar is remarkable, and I think where we are is not what we anticipated at Shell. But what I can say is that on the basis of what we committed as our nationally determined contributions and the trajectory that we have on attaining net zero by 2070, we are on track.
We have a target where we want, in the year 2030, we want to push the entire country to 100 renewables, and hydro being one of the major sources of electricity.
It's all forms of energy. It's each goes. We can again play to our strengths, go about it differently in each geography, but we do need all forms of energy. I think in terms of regulatory or legislative help, I think all kinds of transition businesses need some sort of support, you know, whether it's fiscal support or regulatory support. And I think mandates, I think, are the way that we can, you know, that we can benefit from this as an industry. It's where governments put mandates in and say X amount of percent of your jet fuel needs to be blended with SAF. You know, and when those mandates come through and airlines respond to those mandates, are incentivized to procure SAF, and as that increases, then that gives us greater confidence to be able to make the investments.
Day 2 of the India Energy Week 2025 was divided in two parts: the resilience stage and the transition stage, with policymakers and global energy leaders from over 120 countries calling for a new era of pragmatism, for developing upstream portfolios, for a low-carbon energy future. But the question that remains is this: can renewable energy alone cater to the needs of the growing power demand we see today?
The answer lies in a global biofuels boom, a dawn of a hydrogen economy, and revolutionizing the upstream oil and gas sector with game-changing digital technologies. The transition stage saw hurdles around the role of AI and digitization to reach new frontiers for clean energy, bridging the energy transition's investment gaps, and maximizing the impact of climate tech innovations in transition.
There is a huge opportunity to bring efficiency to the energy system through digitalization and artificial intelligence. So I would say artificial intelligence is the way in which the whole energy system will come together and will be enabled to be much more efficient, and as such being a great added value. And so I think India can really leverage this opportunity as well.
force. The other half of Day 3 was devoted to the transition stage, and it witnessed sessions on the topics such as future of clean power transmission and distribution pathways, fast-tracking commercial carbon management technologies, grid-scale storage with a focus on affordability.
I think you see the example of what the Prime Minister Modi mentioned earlier, and I think I applaud him and his government and the Honourable Minister to the plan that has been put in place by India, and I think it's an example of how you need to balance between the requirement of the nation, ensuring that you can have some renewables, you can have gas that is sustainable, and you need a base load for any country for the intermittence, and you see the methanol, you see all the elements. You need everything, including solar, wind, to cater for the demand that's needed in the future. So we need affordable, ample supply of oil, gas, and investment in all the other green initiatives.
Other key discussions included methane mitigation technologies, solar-based farm mechanization for transforming agriculture across Global South, making the energy transition bankable, establishing transformative integrated e-mobility ecosystems in emerging economies, along with India's global role as a green manufacturing powerhouse.
Energy that is made available in the developing countries, particularly the Global South, has very great significance for uplifting the lives of many people. Now, where does India fit in? In my view, India is very much well placed to lead this change and to enable and help countries in the global transition of the energies. Now, if India have to play a meaningful role, a constructive role, we have to be in countries like in Africa, because I feel today's African per unit consumption cost is so high. Can we play a role in bringing down that cost? Whether gigawatt scale of solar energy that we have successfully introduced in India, can we introduce it in Africa and bring down the cost there? Indian entrepreneurship is well geared to take the position. So gigawatt scale of energy that we can produce clean energy and be able to provide it at affordable cost. But then there's a lot of homework. Convincing the political leadership. Second is also liberalizing the markets, because you not have a cross-border trading to be able to do that at that scale. The third and most important thing is reform of the regulatory frameworks.
The last day of the India Energy Week saw discussions around AI, innovation and entrepreneurship, and India highlighted its focus on Make in India and strengthening local supply chains, keeping startups at the center stage.
I think there is a level of innovation that is being played by startups now. If I take bio as a category, now there is a transition from coal to bio-briquette, looking at how do we organize bio-briquette supply chain, which is where Moglix is playing a role. Solar again becomes a very important area, because solar, both from bringing in newer technology, both from a panel manufacturing perspective, whether it is from the MMS and structural perspective, there are many startups which are playing a role in bringing those technology to the country. Today, companies are starting to look at how electrolyzers can be manufactured in India and what does the supply chain look like.
One major difference between this platform and the others, people go to Houston because it's a gathering of a lot of people in the gas ecosystem, but they come to this platform to actually conduct business.
The India Energy Week is now an established platform for strengthening synergies with partners and building new global collaborations, with innovation and technology running through as the undercurrent, focused on building a sustainable energy future for India and the world.